morning.
everyone.
Friday, bring it on. And clearly, we're getting things started off right with this guacamole.
Girl,
Right?
I'm at Broken English in Lincoln Park, which is an amazing place. It's colorful, it's bright. That says Tacoholic. I don't know if you can see it in the neon sign behind me. They got me some chips and guac. They also got me a paloma, which I didn't really know what it was, but it's served in like a ceramic little pot here with a salt-rimmed glass. I'm pouring some squirt in it. It's got agave, tequila, some lime in it too, and I cannot wait to try this thing. But we're going to be here for this show. They're going to be feeding us, and kind of a celebration of Phase 4, right?
Yes. You had me at tequila. Also, this time, the
Oh,
separation between myself and tacos has been too real.
I
You know,
hear
you
you.
can make tacos at home, please.
It's not the same, Amy. Not the same. It tastes different when you're sitting on a patio.
It's true. This is
They-
very true.
They open at noon today, and obviously following all the rules and stuff. But they got 3 locations too. But we're in the Lincoln Park one. But let's talk about that weather, because that's going to impact everyone's Friday night plans. Maybe tonight was the night where you're like, I'm going to go to a patio. You might want to take advantage of the limited indoor seating today, is all I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and get the map up here. Of course, I was unprepared for that, so let's do that now. Here it is. This is the radar as we take a look outside. Pretty widespread showers and storms making their way through the area. And this is really kind of the opening salvo for today. You can see these aren't severe storms, they're strong. We're going to have some downpours, some thunder, some lightning in the area. But this is nothing compared to what we might have later on today, where we're expecting some severe weather through northern Illinois. So right now, the downtown area, mostly dry. We had some showers go through, but as you just saw on the radar, we're going to be getting some rain soon too, pretty widespread. You can see the clouds there, even some peaks of sunshine here and there. But for the most part, it's going to be a rainy, cloudy sort of day. Temperature-wise, we're warm. We're also humid today, so we're going to get up to about 90 in the suburbs, a little cooler near the lakefront, and that should have a little lightning bolt on it too, because the storms tonight could be severe. Something to be advised about. I think the stronger stuff's going to be between 6 and 10 o'clock tonight, so right when you're trying to do something. So poorly timed. Keep your eyes to the skies. 7-day forecast shows a similar story the next few days. I think we'll have severe weather, but we're going to have a lot of humidity in the atmosphere for the next 6 days. It's going to be hot and humid, so pop-up showers possible pretty much every single day. Looks like the best chance for it is tomorrow and Monday. And again, when you get this much juice in the atmosphere, you can get strong storms, severe storms too. So just be advised of it as you travel about the weekend.
Okay. I'll make a rain check for my plans this afternoon.
No, I mean, just watch it.
Okay.
Well, the good news is you can actually travel about this state because today's opening day for Phase 4. At least in the state of Illinois, Chicago's a little different. Brandon Pope's joining us to kind of break down exactly what you can and can't do starting today. Hey, B Pope.
What's up, guys? Phase 4, it is here. Are we excited?
We are excited.
You don't sound excited.
I mean, I'm cautious about it, like I think many people are. Phase 4, it's going to allow so many things to open up. We're talking about gyms, indoor restaurant seating with parties of up to 10 people, standing areas at 25% capacity there, movie theaters, museums, zoos, bowling alleys, all with capacity limits, 50% around the state for most, 25 here in Chicago for a lot. It also increases the size of public gatherings allowed from 10 to 50 people. Chicago Department of Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady, she says that as we open up, she can't stress enough the importance of maintaining social distancing and other guidelines from their health department and the CDC. The only way to move to Phase 5 from here, according to this plan, is to have an effective vaccine in place or treatment available for COVID-19 or some other kind of immunity developed to that virus. So we'll see how that goes. And this all comes as many other states are seeing spikes happening as they've reopened, like Arizona, California, Mississippi, Nevada, and Texas. Texas actually making big headlines. They are rolling back their reopening after seeing a spike in cases, a record spike in cases. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he says he is not afraid to do the same thing here if numbers surge as well. So people got to be careful out there. It's obviously a personal decision if you decide to hit these places up. And another cool update here, the City Colleges of Chicago, they're suspending their athletic programs for the 2020 academic year due to COVID-19. They're still going to be having their classes online and virtual for the fall semester. But as far as the sports go, including swimming, those have been canceled for the 2020-2021 academic year.
Yeah, a lot of important details in there, Brandon. It's so interesting because we saw so many people, at least I did, they left Chicago to go to these other states that were already open, like Arizona, like Texas, like Florida. And now these are the states having trouble. I wonder if we're going to see them now come back to Chicago since we're starting to open.
It can stay over there as far as I'm concerned.
Right? I will say this, I'm excited. We got an email from my son's school yesterday saying that we will be going to school in the fall as planned. So that's good. But we go to a really small school so they can contain things a little bit easier.
I think the past 2 weeks have been interesting. I think that we were all very excited about Illinois' track, and I think we still are. There's been mostly good news in Illinois, but I feel like the excitement for Phase 4 reopening has really been tempered by what people are seeing elsewhere. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Yeah. Maybe people will be a little bit more cautious this weekend, the 4th of July weekend next weekend, a long 3-day weekend. Maybe a little temperament is not the wrong attitude to take as you look forward to getting back to somewhat normal life.
Yeah, the important thing is that things can change very quickly and rapidly. So while things may say they're going to be open for now, that can change in a matter of weeks, depending on what we see with the numbers and cases.
I'm going to drink my Paloma while I can.
Okay. You keep doing that, Brandon. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Let's get ready to welcome in our first guest of the day. I think we're ready to get some fun started and having some cool conversations. We want to welcome Hemke Madeira, and he is the star. He stars as Pothe in USA's network drama Queen of the South, a huge role, a super nice guy that plays a villainous role, which is really cool to see the juxtaposition. How's it going, Hemke?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I mean, to hear good news that the show was renewed, is this the 5th season now?
5th season, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're looking forward. We started filming and then we had to stop by the second week because of what's happening, but we're just excited. As soon as it's safe to go back to work, we'll be there.
What have you been doing to keep yourself entertained during all this?
I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Me too. I have 2 3-year-olds and a 10-year-old.
Oh, 2 3-year-olds. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a full house. We have 2 dogs, 3 cats. I tell my wife she has 2 kids, 3 cats, 2 dogs, and me.
Our hands are full.
Yeah.
Your journey, you came on my radar. I love the show Weeds and the story of how you were expecting that to be a kind of a 2-episode arc, and Mary Louise Parker, who I adore, went to the writers and said, no, this needs to be longer. I know this show's going well, but I bet a lot of people are like, oh man, Weeds, what a program.
Weeds changed my life for the best, of course. Everything started with that scene with Elizabeth Perkins when I asked her for Chinese food, and she's like, I'm not your delivery person. When she went to grab the money from my hand, I blew her a kiss, and she just kind of like thrown out of it with the character. And each crew member came up to me one by one, like, you just rub yourself in the rest of the season. I'm like, okay. And the next scene was with Mary Louise Parker, and then I always noticed her previous work and everything that she does is like a theater for her. Like each take, she will deliver the lines perfectly, but she'll go up, she'll go down, depends on each take. It's like doing a play with her. So I was like, oh, that's my forte, let's do it. And we start playing around, and her eyes just lit up in the middle of the scene. And I'm like, oops, did I do something wrong?
See,
and then she just went like, after we cut, she just disappeared, walked away. And I'm like, oh, there we go.
See, that's the technical aspect.
Let him finish. I want to. So what happened?
So then she goes, and then comes back like 5 minutes later, and I goes like, oh, so I spoke to the writers. I want more of you. You're amazing. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. Like, you don't understand. I don't get compliments. You're amazing. I want you in my show. And I'm like, thank you.
All right.
2 episodes, but 3 seasons. She was very given to me. Every actor, I've been very blessed through all my career that I've always worked with amazing actors. You go there, you show up, you do your job, and it's a collaboration, and including her, with Elise, with Tom, and Spider-Man, now with Matthew and Perry Mason. it's just, I've been blessed to be surrounded by amazing actors who are just there to do amazing work. So I feel very blessed.
See, I was going to say that's the technical part of what you're doing, of what an actor does. And obviously, you're doing it so well. It has inspired the producers and writers and folks behind the scene and other actors as well. Kudos to that. I think about your Ropote, how you just have like this, you play the villain role well, I gotta say. I don't know if it's the voice or the mustache, the fact that you're a good actor. What do you think?
It's a combination of everything. I remember when I first read the script, automatically just the voice came out. The way that I saw Pote, when I started saying his lines and I started reading out loud, it's just his voice just got deeper.
Yes, that's the voice.
And then when we were talking about with wardrobe about how I was gonna wear, as soon as they put that clothes on and the chains and everything, and then I remember I came to set with a full beard when we were doing the pilot, and they wanted me to have a full beard, but the way that I envisioned him after everything that happens, like no, I see him with a mustache and the sideburns, clean cut. I remember growing up in Dominican Republic. Just like that. I remember growing up in Dominican Republic, I would see a lot of Mexican films in the 80s growing up, and I would see guys like this stoic kind of guys. So as soon as they shaved me and they just came around, my shoulders just went forward. The voice even got deeper and slower. And it's just, and one thing that I've always done all my life is with every character that I play, even with Weeds, anything, especially Pote is not a nice guy. He's a killer. But like I say, he's a killer with a heart. And one thing that I never do is judge the characters that I play. If you judge the character you play, then it's I think for my belief is you lost that battle already.
Why
One thing I love about, oh, go ahead.
I apologize, John, but why is that? Like, what does that mean? You never judge the character, and how does that help
Because
you?
they're characters. They have a life. Just because Pote kills for a living, he's still a human being that wakes up and has his morals. He will not kill women or children, even though within the circle of this psychotic world that he lives, because he kills people for a living. You cannot judge, it's what he does for a living, and then you bring back what it is. And you saw in the thing of season 3 that his father put a gun on him when he was 6 years old. So there's a story behind what's happening. In season 1, he was a seasoned hitman with a younger crazy guy, but it worked out that I made the crazy younger the nephew of my boss, which I couldn't get rid of him and have that conflict of like, it wasn't never verbally, but it was there physically. So
your story of being born in New York, then going down to the Dominican Republic because your dad couldn't get a visa to come to New York, and then does that impact, I think, your style or just your story and what you bring to acting?
My mother had a green card for years prior, and she lived there for a little bit. My dad, when they met and they got married, he applied for the visa, but my mother had no intention of having me here in the States. It wasn't like, oh, let's have it. No, she had a green card, but she lived in the Dominican Republic. She was 7 months pregnant at the time, so she came to the States to visit her twin sister and her other siblings that lived in the country. So she was like, it's a quick 6-day trip. When she got here, there were some complications that she had to take her to the ER, and they had to pull me out. My mother fell into a coma. And then for whatever reason, my grandmother, rest her soul, figured that by not telling my dad what was happening, it was protecting him. Old school mentality. My father's like, wait a second, this is a third world country. Women give birth and go home the same day. What's going on with my wife and my son? What's going on? So when my mother woke up, my aunt, her twin sister, has a son named Henry. So she looked in the book of names. I think the law in New York in the 70s, at least what I've been told, and I have kept this magical story that I've been told since I was a kid. It was if you don't name your child within the 9th day, the state will name you the sex. Now they give you up to a year. It would have been Boy Madera. So when they named me Hemke, my mother woke up and my aunt goes, "This is your son Hemke." And she goes, "Hemke, what?" What? But I'm glad that it's Hemke. And then 2 months later, when she recouped we went to the Dominican Republic. So I had the best of both worlds. I grew up in the Dominican Republic until I was 10, would come in every summer and every Christmas to New York. And then when I was 10, I lived in New York for a couple of years to learn English. Then went back to the Dominican Republic. Then after high school, I came back to the States.
You and I are about the same age, and I grew up watching Perry Mason. Did you watch it at all as a kid? And is that weird to then be in the show?
I watched it not when it was coming out, but as reruns late on in my teenage years, because of we didn't have it in Spanish at the time in the Dominican Republic. But then I started watching. It was so interesting character, so interesting role, and so interesting of a character itself. When I got the call that they offered me the role, Rodrigo, I was like, I'm in, obviously. And reconnected with Ron and the writers. They were writers from the showrunners of the show. They used to be writers and producers of Weeds. So it was great to reconnect with them. Yeah. And then to work with Matthew. It's such a lovely person. He is an amazing actor, fun to be around on set. And it was nice to see, even though we don't share scenes together, Veronica, see her on set all the time, it felt like it was being back on Queen of the South. So this is such a cinematic show too.
Yeah,
yeah.
It looks beautiful.
I call it an 8-episode movie. That's what it is.
Awesome.
Well, Hemke, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you a little bit. I'm sorry we're out of time, but thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, you're a really cool guy. We got to get you back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got a lot of stories we could tell, I'm sure.
I'm here anytime you need me, and 1 week,
We like to hear that. Let's get the promotion up for the show, of course. Perry Mason, Sunday nights at 8 on HBO. And, of course, you can follow Hemke and all that he... Oh, and Queen of the South, of course, on Netflix. Seasons 1 through 4 are now streaming.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
you. Hemke. Hey, really quickly, we have tacos that were just delivered. These are fried chicken. So I'm reading off here. Here, I'll get these a little closer. Yeah. This is Negra Modelo beer battered chicken, smoked cabbage slaw, ghost pepper mayo, and cilantro on top. Ooh!
And it just looks so fresh, too. All those fresh ingredients.
My job is so hard, guys. I don't know if you realize.
I know. Mm-hmm. Well, it's similar to also what you do with Chicago Food to Go. Although I don't think when you shoot that show, you're doing as much eating.
No, that would be trouble. But yeah, Chicago Food to Go airs at 11 a.m. on Saturdays on CW26 and 9:30 p.m. primetime, baby, as the train goes by, the Brown Line, at 9:30 p.m. And Broken English was just featured on the show, but we got a bunch of new restaurants here this weekend.
All right, guys, let's move on to our next guest. I remember last year when Pokemon Go took over Grant Park. I was flying up in a helicopter, and it was so funny to watch all the people just like wandering around all over the park, you know, in the different areas. Right. So obviously, the Pokemon Fest, Go Fest, is going to be a little bit different this year. Michael is with Niantic. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you are.
Fantastic. And so you guys are the parent company for Pokemon Go.
Yes, we are the creators of Pokemon.
How are you doing it differently this year? Obviously, you can't all get all these people together in Grant Park like last year, but...
Yeah, it's been a huge change for us this year. Obviously, you know, we've had Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago for the last 3 years in a row. We love the city. But this year, you know, we were thrown a pretty big curveball. So instead of just sort of taking the summer off and everybody relaxing at Niantic, we decided, you know what? Why don't we take this opportunity to try to bring the Pokemon Go Fest experience to all of our players all around the world?
So I guess we're just taking away this aspect of getting together like that then. I mean,
how does it work?
How will it still work? What'd you say, John?
I was going to say, how is it going to work?
Yeah.
It'll definitely be a little bit different, right? So one thing we want to be really sure we're not doing is getting people to sort of like gather and cluster. But it is a big world. Everybody has their own neighborhoods that they can, you know, walk around and explore. So some of the things that we're really leaning into this year is sort of digitizing a lot of the traditional elements that people really love about Pokemon Go Fest. So you can see here on screen, one of the big things we always like to do at these events is build these real world habitats. So right here, you're looking at, a spooky woods habitat. And when you walk into that area, you see a lot of ghost Pokemon, a lot of dark type Pokemon. And instead, this year, we're going to sort of take this rotating habitat approach, where everywhere around the world, in a certain hour, we're bringing a specific habitat to your location. And so there might be a fire type habitat from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., for example. And everybody around the world will see fire type Pokemon during that time. And then we're also doing a lot of things to connect people online, basically, during this event. So because GoFest, in my mind, the most important part of GoFest are all of the community connections. You can see here just thousands, tens of thousands of players connecting with each other and really celebrating, being a Pokemon fan together. We're trying to find ways to enable people to do that online this year.
Is it still, they got to buy tickets, right? You're still doing that?
We actually have sort of a free version and a paid version for people.
Okay.
It's really important for us for everybody to really celebrate in the moment. And so, the paid version will really get you all of the different, fun experience there is to offer. But even if you want to just open up your app and enjoy the free version of the game, you'll still be able to see a lot of cool Pokemon that you might not normally see on a regular basis.
Are there any changes to the game to help for social distancing or the time that we're in right now?
Yeah, so that goes back to not even just Pokemon Go Fest, but the base level game. We've made quite a few adjustments to enable players to still, enjoy the game and this sort of crazy time that we're living in. One of the biggest sort of social features of the game is something called raid battles. And so if you've ever, walked around in your neighborhood or a park and you saw a cluster of people, on their phone tapping, very rapidly, they're participating in something called a Pokemon raid battle, where you're basically teaming up and battling this giant Pokemon. And so obviously that's something that we don't want to promote right now. We don't want people to cluster together. So for the first time ever, we've launched something called remote raid battles, where if you see a raid happening, even a mile away, you can sort of remote into that battle. And so you're still teaming up with people, but you can do it either from the comfort of your own home, or you can make sure that you're at least socially distanced while you're doing it on your walk.
I remember how many people were here last year. Can all those people be on the app? And if you're talking about worldwide, all at once and without crashing it?
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to when Pokemon Go launched in 2016, we still have millions and millions of players that log in at the same time every day. We have had some events in the past that have definitely, stress tested what our servers could handle, but we are cranking it up for this weekend and making sure that, everybody's going to have a great experience, a smooth gameplay experience. It's super important for us to make sure that people have a good time.
I bet you're already looking forward to 2021, where hopefully things will be a little bit different.
Oh, so looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ironic. In my line of work and in live events, I do, get to travel around quite a bit, but it does sort of, a lot of travel can definitely weigh on you, and it's really exhausting. So at the end of the last year, I was thinking to myself, okay, I don't want to travel at all in 2020. And careful what you wish for, right?
Careful what you wish for, right?
Jinxed us, dude.
Yeah. I did. It's all my fault.
By 2021, though, I expect some new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're always releasing new Pokemon over time. For anybody that's familiar with the Pokemon franchise, it's been around for 20 years. And when Pokemon Go first came out, actually almost 25 years now, when Pokemon Go first came out, we only launched with the initial set of Pokemon that came out in the late 90s. And so we've progressively been playing catch up to the main series games. But it's given us, a chance to really highlight a lot of different Pokemon since our game has come out.
Yeah, I have a box like it's about this big, filled with Pokemon cards because I have kids. And so when the game came out, oh man, they lost their mind.
My mom sold my Pokemon cards as soon as I was out of the house. I know, it was very, very sad time.
One of our reporters.
Without you knowing?
I mean, she kind of hinted at it, but yeah, it was kind of like cleaning up the old place.
Okay.
One of our reporters, Brandon Pope, is the resident nerd. Said lovingly, nerd culture has changed a lot over the last years. Brandon hasn't, though. But he asks, any talks of trading being made available remotely?
So we're probably not going to enable remote trading for this game. That's something that we're really conscious of because it can actually, really mess with the game's Pokemon economy, if you think of it that way. One of the most important parts of Pokemon Go is to be able to, go around the world and catch different Pokemon, and then bring them back and trade with your friends. And so, right now it is unfortunate people aren't able to really travel around, but, we don't want to take this temporary situation and have sort of a negative long-term impact on the intent of the game.
If you've never played before and you've never really gotten into the Pokemon thing, but you've seen other people doing it, would this be a good starter run? Like, is this a good time to jump in and try it?
Yeah, I definitely think now is a great time to hop in and try it. A lot of the features that we have launched over the past 2 months has made the game really friendly for at-home play. So whether you're, socially distancing at home, or if you're taking a walk in your neighborhood, which, I definitely enjoy doing still, even in this day and age, it's a great sort of companion app that you can have and, collect Pokemon, make bonds with these Pokemon, also make friends around the world, and send each other gifts and things like that through the game. It's been a really nice thing for me personally, to do while I'm sort of relaxing at home.
Well, and I will say, like, as a mom of kids who play video games, it is nice that they can still stay connected via these video games because now they can see each other a little bit more, but at least they had the interactions. So they weren't completely isolated from each other.
Yeah, definitely. And for Pokemon Go Fest, we're looking to even dial that up even more, right? So throughout the day, some of the things you can experience are these different collaborative challenges. And so you and your friends, no matter where they are, either in the same neighborhood, a different state, a different country, you'll be able to sort of team up as a global community and unlock, really special bonuses throughout the day. And on your friends list, you'll be able to see like, okay, my friend Bill contributed X amount towards this goal, and my friend Rachel contributed Y amount. So yeah, we're really trying to find different ways to make people really feel connected, even if they have to be physically apart.
There is like obviously a physical benefit to going outside and walking around. I have a couple friends that had been struggling with weight for a few years, and they were like, I want to try something. They started Pokemon going in 2016, whatever it is, in 2016. And that inspired them to do 25,000 steps a day for like a year. And it really did. I mean, they lost like 45 pounds each. It's incredible what getting people outside and at least starting that motion can really change them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's sort of one of the foundational pillars of our games at Niantic, right? So if you think of any of our games, Ingress, Harry Potter, Pokemon Go, they're all about, these 3 core pillars, which is exploration, exercise, and real world social. And, John Hankey, our founder and CEO, really believes in this notion that, if we can encourage people to go out and go on a walk through, this sort of video games, it's something that like we can do as a company to help, this social good around the world. And, it's something that has really helped me personally too. I've definitely lost quite a bit of weight since Pokemon Go first came out. Not all attributed to Pokemon Go, of course, but it definitely promoted, healthy lifestyle choices for me. And I am a huge Pokemon fan at heart, and so I really can't help myself but go out and go for a long walk if I see on my radar that there's a rare Pokemon nearby.
I love it. One thing you did mention that stands out to me, I hope you could fill me in. You said you increase your bond with the Pokemon.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so last year we launched a Pokemon Go Buddy feature, where you can pick one of your Pokemon that you've caught, and make it your Pokemon buddy. And you can do fun things like, you can feed your Pokemon berries, you can take AR photos with your Pokemon, and all of the different things that you do to interact with your buddy will sort of increase your friendship. And as your friendship increases over time, your buddy will do some fun things like it'll, grab items for you and bring it back to you. Maybe if you're trying to catch another Pokemon and you miss your ball, your buddy will actually knock the ball back to, get a second throw essentially at that Pokemon. So yeah, it's important for us to not look at Pokemon as, just data on your phone. We really do, totally embrace the lifestyle that everybody's Pokemon trainers, right? And, the Pokemon that you have are these creatures that you can, really create a bond with.
That was a lot more technical of an explanation than I expected.
Felice.
Wow. I mean, it's just this whole community. It's this whole different world. It's cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I love the Pokemon Go community. Everybody's so friendly and so helpful with each other. One of the pillars that I talked about, right? Real world social. It's something that truly differentiates Niantic games, because whereas a lot of other games, and I've made tons of friends on other video game platforms online, but it's really not the same as when, you actually meet up with someone in person and go on a walk together and things like that. So, that community is definitely very strong. It's also, I would say, usually less toxic than some other communities can be, because people don't want to be rude to each other face to face. It's a lot easier to sort of hide behind your computer screen and be mean to one another. So I think we have a really awesome community going here.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. Let's get the
Michael,
information up on the screen so folks can get involved in Pokemon Go Fest this year. July 25th to 26th next month. And you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and of course on the web page as well, nianticlabs.com/Ian. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, guys, I am eating and enjoying my best life here, but we're doing something really special next week. Oh, I just had the screen closed down, but we're doing the summer barbecue. So people have been sending in all these recipes and wonderful things, and it's been really great because I personally need a bunch of new stuff to grill. I am sick of what I grill every single day. I go to like my normal ones.
That's my submission.
Tell us about it.
Fancy.
This is my summer. My mom used to make this all the time when I was a kid. It's an ice cream cake that you actually put in the fridge after you make it, but it's made with vanilla ice cream and bananas and banana pudding, and it's on like Ritz cracker crust. It's so good.
So then here's what's going to happen is we are going to each pick a favorite recipe, and then we're going to whip it up, and we're going to post the clips next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay, so you got to email your summer go-tos to jamreelshai@wciu.com. You got until Monday to do that. So get those in, and then we're going to whip them up and see how we do. And you can check out some of the recipes already submitted at cw26chicago.com.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, it's, I look forward to being able to have some new recipes to try out. Okay, moving right along.
Totally.
And we've talked about, what are business owners talking to their employees about? This is a very difficult time for business owners, for employees, and obviously the changes in all the rules and regulations. So here to chat about that is Farisa Knox. She's a business owner and focusing on healing and mental health as it relates to her staff. Farisa, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
Well, I know it's a great day, obviously, phase 4, reopening, some sense of maybe getting back to normal. How have you endured? How has your business done? And how are your employees doing?
Yeah, ooh, that's a loaded question.
Yes.
We're fine. I think we're doing okay. We're doing as well as we can be. For myself, as just a Black woman business owner, it's been a very tumultuous journey these past, few months. But we've done a good job staying connected via Zoom, platforms like this, and making sure that every time we talk, it's not just about work, that we're really incorporating the topics of the day into our conversations and being a source of relief and inspiration to each other.
Mm-hmm. What kind of conversation do you think employers should be having with their staff at this time? There's so much going on in the world, and I don't think you can ignore it right now. If you have people of color that work in your office, like this is what everyone is talking about. That deserves a conversation. Obviously, the pandemic, coronavirus, we're talking about safety. That deserves a conversation. How do you address these topics?
Yeah. Well, so to be honest, you know, at my firm, we had an open communication system before all of this. So it was very seamless for us to go from talking about what it feels like to be a young person in corporate or a person of color in, you know, a workplace, to seamlessly now talking about what it feels to watch the images that we have to watch, you know, almost now on a daily basis on the news. What it feels to kind of be secluded from a group of people that you're used to spending your day to day with. So the kind of conversations I'm having with my team is just literally allowing them to express themselves. I think if most employers start there, then the conversation will genuinely lead into a place where you're almost kind of self-helping each other, right? So I think it starts with honesty. It starts with allowing people to express their feelings, even if they are not reflective of your own in any way, and understanding that we're all navigating through this differently, right? We're all human beings surviving a pandemic and witnessing and experiencing some of the most social change in our society that we desperately need right now.
Do you get concerned, or maybe you, because your office is so open that you don't have this issue, that somebody is afraid to speak up? I know, like, you know, Starbucks wouldn't let their employees wear Black Lives Matter shirts for a while, and they changed that policy. And I imagine that some people are afraid to speak up because of what their office could tell them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fear goes both ways, right? So for people of color in some office environments, they are afraid to share their feelings and talk about these topics with employers or coworkers. But I think that non-people of color also have some fear of how to address these topics with their fellow coworkers or friends that they might have at work. Again, how we typically address it, I'll give you an example. We had a topic come up after the George Floyd incident on what we might be able to do as an organization just to aid the positivity in the conversation and just see some progress from, you know, these horrific events. And some of the ideas I had to squash because they were not sensitive enough to the reality of what, you know, what his murder meant and to his name. And so instead, we picked a topic that could really shift change in society. So instead of talking about George Floyd and the current state of our police system and what it feels to be Black in America today, I collectively said, let's talk about voting, right? Because voting is a topic that is, first of all, it's safe. It's something that we all should do no matter what our beliefs are. And it's something that can help change the direction of some of the things that we're seeing today.
You know, we've gotten a lot better with talking about mental health in this country over the last 10, 15, 20 years or so. But I think what has lagged behind is employers being accepting of, I need a personal day, this is too much. And I understand that's a really delicate balance between employer and employee. Moving forward, have you thought about how you might change your idea of giving people that mental rest day as just as important as a physical rest day?
Yeah, I think they're more important than a sick day, right? It's almost preventative medicine, if you will, to take a mental health day and to just, you know, spend some time healing or resting or some of the things that we need to do as humans. I think it starts with, you know, again, having an open mind around therapy, around, you know, people not having to be in the office from 9 to 5, like that existence. I think most of us now, after this, you know, past 3 months, we can say it's okay if there's more of a fluid in and out of the office environment. And then that relieves people to be able to use their time more productive for themselves personally. And I think any employer or manager or leader would agree with me that the more you invest in your employees as humans, as people, the better results you get from a business perspective. You know, they're more happy to come to work every day. They're excited and invigorated to do the work on their desk. And that's what everyone, you know, in business wants. So if you pour into the human, they deliver something really spectacular for you.
Yeah. I was on the phone with one of my girlfriends who was upset that her employer has not really addressed anything that's going on regards to protest and systemic racism. What would be your advice? And I guess this is open to anybody who's having this conversation with us right now. What's your advice to an employee whose work has not come out and said anything or addressed what's going on?
Yeah, it's hard because you want the statement to be more than just a statement, right? You want it to mean something to the people who work for you, and you want it to make a difference. You want it to have some type of call to action so that we're not just talking. And I think everyone, no matter who we are, we're tired of talk and we want to see some action. And so I would suggest, as a manager, a leader, a CEO, that you should make a statement. But if you've taken your time, then allow for that time to generate some type of action so that you can include that in your statement, and you can corral your team into doing something that is going to benefit not just them, but the topic at hand. So include some type of call to action. And I think that's going to really be the thing that stands out, because now, we've all seen, I'm sure you guys have all gotten like 20 different emails from all the companies you've ever bought anything from, saying how they feel about this. And that's nice, but what are we all going to do about it?
I love that approach, encouraging the employee to take up a leadership role.
Do you ever get concerned that a lot of these topics are going to decrease productivity? Like, can you spend too much time talking about them, be it anything, the pandemic, anything, or because there's got to be a fine balance?
Yeah, I agree. And yes, I do get concerned about that. I think any employer, even before all of this, when you have an employee come into your office and say, you have a minute, you really don't know if it's going to be a work-related conversation, personal, or, sometimes I feel like I'm a licensed therapist. But I think carving out time for it, so purposefully, my team on Fridays, actually today's Friday, so every Friday at 1:00, we hop on Google Hangout just to chat about whatever everyone wants to talk about. So I think the fact that we've carved out this time on purpose for it generates that balance for us, right? So that our work conversations aren't interrupted or taken over by talking about the pandemic or talking about racism or talking about what it feels like to be who we are in America today. So that's been one thing I've done to kind of curb every conversation could ultimately turn into a Corona conversation.
Right.
What's your pulse on how employees are feeling about gearing back up for work, whether with you or people you're talking with, other business owners?
Yeah, that's so relevant for me right now, because we're literally planning what that's going to look like for our team. I would say if most companies are like mine, 50% of the employees around are really excited to get back into the office. And the other 50% are a little hesitant for a number of reasons, not just from a safety perspective, but from a childcare perspective, figuring out who's going to start watching their kids now again if their daycare hasn't opened back up because it's summer. School, there's way fewer options than what we had before all of this. I think it is the younger, single, more community-focused employees who are ready and excited to get back into the office. And then folks like myself, who I have childcare, and it's honestly going to be easier for me to leave my home and go back into the office and get more done. So I think it's a 50-50 split right now, and we're being sensitive to that and flexible and just saying, if you would like and still have the opportunity to stay home and work and be productive, then please do so. But if you want to come to the office, here are the safety measures we've put in place, and here's what you can expect as like our new normal for as long as it needs to be.
Okay. Well, we are certainly happy to get some words of wisdom from a leader. I think it's something that a lot of people, they need to be talking about and trying to build these bridges in the workplace. I think it'll make it a better situation for all of us, which obviously bleeds into personal lives as well.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Felicia, thank you so much.
You guys,
always good to see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yes, Farisa Knox, she is a good follow on Instagram. I always see her posting pictures of her kids and her daughters and just navigating this tough time. So if you are looking for a little inspiration, check her out, Facebook, Instagram, @Farisa Knox.
Hey guys, it just started pouring here at Broken English.
Wow.
Outside. You can see on the patio, there's the little droplets. So we're getting a little bit storm coming through the area. This is going to be kind of the tale of the day, and not as much, but really the next 5 or 6 days. So let me show you, if I can, the radar situation right now, because we are looking at some pretty heavy showers and storms widespread now across the area. Felicia, how's it looking on the south side, girl?
It's gray. It's just a drizzle, though.
Yeah. Well, wait 10 more minutes. It's going to rain a little bit more. It's hot, it's humid, and you might even be able to hear it here. They had to turn on the fans here because they need to start airing this place out, because when you get this much rain added to an already high dew point, you start to get that humidity everywhere. So feels okay right now, but those dew points are going to rise through the afternoon, which means we're going to have an even more unstable atmosphere. And we might have some severe weather tonight. We're put in the risk category of 3 for our area, the northern Illinois area. That may not sound like much, but out of a 5, 3 is pretty high. They anticipate we're going to get some pretty strong storms for the area, 6 to 10 o'clock tonight, just right where it can ruin your evening plans after we reach 90 degrees today. All right, let's look at the next 7 days, because what we're dealing with is hot temperatures. Look at the lowest high temperature we have in the next 7 days is 86. So we're going to be in the upper 80s, low 90s for the next week. It'll be muggy the entire time, pretty much, and that means storms are possible any one of these days. There are a couple days where it's a little stronger possibility, and we'll track these things. Some of these things might get a little bit more severe, or strong at least, as we go through the next 7 days, but bad hair days throughout.
Okay, thanks so much, John, for the update. You guys, let's welcome in Andrea Barber. She is an actress. We are so excited because she's best known for playing Kimmy Gibbler. You know Kimmy in Full House, you guys. And of course, on Netflix, she is in the sequel series Fuller House. So we welcome Andrea, our favorite neighbor, our one and only favorite neighbor. Andrea, hi, how's it going?
Hi, guys. Oh, it's so good to see you.
We're so excited. So we've had Bob Saget, we've had John Stamos, well, his wife, and we've got Kimmy Gibbler.
That's great. You're just working your way through the whole cast. I hope all 15 of us at some point.
Oh, yes, so exciting. How does this feel? I mean, you're in the fifth and final season is being released.
It's very bittersweet. You know, it's been such a blessing to come back and get to do this show for 5 seasons. I thought we said goodbye to this when I was a teenager. We never thought we'd get to come back through that famous red door and sit on that blue plaid couch again. So it's bittersweet to say goodbye again for the second time. But we're also really excited because we feel like we've wrapped up the series in a very nostalgic but wonderful way. I think the fans are very satisfied from what I hear so far. The fans love the ending. It's not an ending that's going to leave you too sad. You know, it is Fuller House. So I think everyone's going to have, you know, it's going to end with that nice, happy, wonderful feeling with a big group hug, you know, just like every episode of Full House and Fuller House. And I miss everybody. But it's great to get to interact with our fans and hear their reaction to the final season and hear the things that they loved about it.
I have to admit, you are on in my house every day. My 10-year-old is obsessed with the show. We were watching this morning. I don't know which episode he's on right now. And it's so interesting because I grew up watching the show when you were a kid. You know, you and I are about the same age. And now to have my 10-year-old watching it, it's such a full circle moment. And I can't even imagine how that feels to you.
Yes, it's that times 100 because my kids will watch it and they're so embarrassed by me. I mean, your kids are always embarrassed by you just because, you know, you're their mom. But then when your mom is Kimmy Gibbler and she's wearing the neon tights and, you know, bacon and egg scarves and stuff, you know, my kids are very, very embarrassed by that. It took them a little while to get over that, but now I think they're proud and they've been to the studio with me. And so they know how much work it really is. And I think they are proud. They love it. They've become friends with all of the kids on the show, just like I became best friends with Jody and Candace back when we were 10 years old. So it really is a full circle moment, like you said.
Did they watch Full House too? Your kids?
My kids?
Yeah.
Not for a long time. I never thought they would be interested in it until my son, when he was in 2nd grade, he came home from school and he said, Mom, how come all the kids at school have seen Full House except for me? And I'm your son. I was like, okay, I guess it's time to introduce you to Full House. So they watched it a little bit later than their peers, but they still watched a few episodes.
for the rest of us, like our lives take this, we're kids and then we grow up and we're in our homes and then our careers grow. You've had such a different life, right? Like childhood star, then kind of, I don't want to say out of the spotlight, but being a mom, doing other things, and then back again. And I mean, I know that's what your memoir's about, but I imagine that's what's so fascinating about your life.
It is. I lived a very different life for a normal person because I was on a hit TV show as a kid. And then I have a very different life as a celebrity because I left the business for 20 years and I hate red carpets. I call myself a really bad celebrity in my memoir because it's true. I'm actually not very good at this stuff. Yeah, I came back to the business just to do Fuller House because Jeff Franklin, the creator of the show, called me up and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a reboot. Are you interested in reprising your role as Kimmy Gibbler?" And it surprised me that I didn't hesitate to say yes, 100% yes. I was willing to do it because I loved this show and I love the legacy and I love Kimmy Gibbler and I love all of my castmates so
and
much.
no regrets having done it?
No. Are you kidding me? I wish it would go on. Like we're all hoping that in another 20 years, we can come back and do a Fullest House and be the grandmothers of the show.
I was gonna say, you never know. It could be the third time, a third run.
Never say never, nobody thought we'd come back and do it a second time. So why not a third,
Well, and I will say it's a lot of the reboots are not as successful. I mean, I feel like you guys are probably the most successful reboot that has been done so far.
Thank you. I agree. But I'm not sure why that is, except that maybe I know some of the reboots focus on the newer characters and the newer kids, and Fuller House kind of kept focusing on these same characters that were in the original show. Candace, Jody, and I as DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy. People feel like they grew up with us. Like people tell me that all the time. They want to come up to me in Target and hug me. Well, at least pre-COVID, they would do that. And it's true. It's like we grew, since I was 10 years old, I was on your TV screen. You watched all of my awkward adolescence from age 10 to 18.
Oh, that's
and then here I am as an almost 44-year-old doing it all over again. So it is sort of like this lifetime relationship that we've developed with our fans.
So were you 18 then when you decided to step out the spotlight and do a few different things? Was that how old you were? Okay.
Yes, exactly. I was 18, just starting college.
So what was the thought process in that decision? Because so often, I imagine you probably had people telling you, you're on a roll, you're on a streak, people know you, they know your name, keep going. You decided to go a different route. What was going on then?
I think because I had been acting as a child since age 5. And so, it had been 13, 14 years. And I was kind of like, okay, I've done that. I'm ready to learn new things. And college was a very exciting time. I didn't take a single drama class. I was all in on the humanities. I got my degree in English literature. I loved writing. And so this has been great to be able to write my own book. Finally, I'm putting my English degree to use after all these years. And I was interested in other things, such as studying abroad. I lived in Denmark for 4 months. I lived in Switzerland for 5 months. I got my master's degree in England. So I was all about education and about international education as well. And I found that so fulfilling that I never missed acting.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot of courage to do what you did.
Well, thank you.
I find it's interesting too, because you find that, celebrities want to be famous. They want to be in acting. It seems like you kind of not just shied away from the limelight of it, but seemed to like the craft. So how did you get into acting? Because I know you were pretty young. Was this something that your parents kind of put you into?
That's exactly it. I was 5, so I never made the conscious decision. I'm like, I'm going to be an actor. I was like, I was 5, but we did lots of community theater. That was my family's hobby, just like doing, a Christmas Carol together as a family. Me and my brothers were discovered by my agent way back in the day. I was 5. My brothers were probably 8 and 10 years old at the time. And this was just a hobby for us, going out and doing, McDonald's commercials and Barbie commercials. Commercials were really important in the 80s. And so we did lots of those things. And it was something that I said, my parents said, as long as it's fun and you guys enjoy it, we'll keep you in the business. The minute it becomes a chore or you don't want to do it, you're out of the business. It's not something we were ever pressured into doing. And
I love that.
I appreciate that much, very, very much now, even more so than I did then.
That's
All
why
right.
you're normal now.
I hope so. I hope so. I have a lot of people in my life that keep me grounded. My kids are keeping me grounded now.
Felicia's our official detector on who's normal or not. Herself on a sliding scale back and forth.
We all know how child stars go.
Yeah.
Like, why she's normal, living a lovely life.
I wanted to ask, now that you've come full circle, you've written a memoir, what is next? I mean, you said you just came back for this, so you're back out of acting?
Well, anything goes, you know. I'm at that crossroads again, as I was when I was 18. I can stay in the business, or I can leave and do something completely different. I'm going to give the business another go. I'd love to stay in television if Hollywood can figure out a way to make TV fun and exciting. And I'm working on developing a new show with Juan Pablo de Pache, who plays my TV husband on Fuller House. We're hoping to not do a Gibbler spinoff, but to keep working together as a couple and recapture that chemistry that we've built for 5 years together.
And he was on this show too. We've really gone full.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
you're just working your way down the line, down the casting call line.
Okay, we got to keep it real, Andrea. So
Sure.
I was a young kid watching Full House and of course catching the reruns and everything. And I know how John Stamos made me feel then. He made me feel like, have mercy. That's how he made me feel, okay? And I was a little kid, so whatever have mercy means to a little kid, that's how I felt. I want to know, what was it like working with him or on the show as a young girl? I mean, just what was that experience like? Because he is still so have mercy.
He's very handsome. I envy his bone structure and his skin. Like, I don't know what his secret is to his amazing skin.
He has a good head of hair and everything.
It's his Greek heritage, I think. That's or maybe he just bathes in yogurt, Greek yogurt every night. I don't know. But I was 10 when I met John, so I wasn't into boys. I never had those butterflies for him. And by the time I became interested in boys, he was just John. You know, he's like the uncle of the show, and he was like the uncle to us girls on the show too. So I never had a crush on him. I just appreciated him as he's just John. You know, I've seen him at his best. I've seen him really, really cranky when he's tired and hungry. So I've seen all sides to John. And I understand that he makes a lot of people swoon. And I can appreciate his beauty and his handsome, but I also appreciate his friendship. And he's got a really good heart as well. And I love that about him.
It sounds like, from talking to all of you guys, that you guys all stayed pretty close over the years anyway, just on your own.
Yeah, we never stopped being in touch. So this big reunion was a reunion for the characters, not for the actors, because we never lost touch. We always stayed in touch, even though we lived in different parts of the country. Yeah, we always tried to get together a few times a year to celebrate birthdays or weddings. And it was so great to be able to work together again, because then we got to see each other every single day, and we've just gotten even closer. I talk to Candace and Jody almost every day. We're always on our Marco Polo app, Marco Poloing each other these long messages about, you know, life and all of our problems and celebrations and everything that girls talk about.
Kids.
We did have a question from one of our producers. Did you take anything from the set on the last day?
Well, I didn't get any big ticket items like the couch, like John Stamos. Yes. He didn't know he took the couch until he posted a picture on Instagram. So that came as a shock to all of us. Yeah. Mostly I kept my Kimmy Gibbler wardrobe, my bacon and egg scarf, all of my accessories. I have a lot of food accessories like, you know, egg rings and egg jewelry, a sandwich scarf, a pizza scarf. I don't know why that's the big food theme in Kimmy Gibbler's life, but I kept a lot of her iconic wardrobe pieces as well. And my Kimmy coffee mug, but that's it. That's all I really kept.
We had another one of our producers said that she loved you growing up and always made her feel that her quirks felt normal as a kid. Did you get that from a lot of people that kind of thanked you for like making quirky cool?
I do. I get a lot of those comments now from people who grew up with the show and kind of felt weird and awkward growing up like a lot of teenagers do. Right. But now that they're in their 30s and 40s, they look back and they say, you know what? We really related to Kimmy as it's you know, we feel different and we feel like we don't fit in, but that's okay. You know, Kimmy was always outrageous, but she owned it and she loved it about herself. And I love that about Kimmy. I think that's a great life motto. It's one that I try to adopt in my own life, is just be yourself and love yourself. And the people that love you for it are the people that should be in your life.
Oh, that's like
so
a
lovely.
perfect,
Yeah.
you like wrapped up this interview in like a perfect little bow. Thanks for that.
You guys, she's a
Anytime.
writer.
Yeah, when you do your work, yeah, exactly. You're a writer. You did our job for us. No, it was really a joy to get to know you,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can chat again soon. And good luck with all your future projects and the book too.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks so much, you guys. This was fun being on your show. I love it. I'm a big fan. So thanks for inviting me.
Hold on, promo department. Did you get that? Say that right there, and thank you. Leave a little pad time. Okay, let's get the information up on the screen where you can follow her and all the great things that she's doing, and of course where you can find Full Circle from Hollywood to Real Life and Back Again.
What a great picture too.
Yeah, really.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Take care.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love when you
Hey,
meet like people that you watch growing up and they're lovely like that. It just
Yes.
makes me feel so good. I'm like, oh, thank gosh, she was wonderful.
So
When she
refreshing.
spoke to the idea of not,
I'm an
Go
even
ahead,
bigger
Felicia.
fan. So refreshing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's up. The train's coming by, but I love that she doesn't. She hates red carpets. I feel the same way. All the junkets, or not that we're invited to many red carpets, but you know what I mean. Like go to these events. I like to be at home and do my own thing.
Work. Like she
Yes.
likes doing the work. And I
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, before we preview the 2 o'clock show, just really quickly, Broken English, where I've been all day here in Lincoln Park, all 3 of their locations, Old Town Lincoln Park and the one on Lake Street, are all open right now, following the legal regulations, of course. And the window is open here, too. They got a window for ice cream flavors and churro cones. And I'm a little pissed they didn't bring one for me yet, but I'm going to go get one before I leave. Opening in about, well, right now, even though it's pouring outside.
It's really so funny because when we started this hour, Henry was starting to watch the next episode of Fuller House, so I heard the theme song going, and I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, so exciting. You'll have to make sure he watches this interview.
I will. Hey guys, we got a lot more fun coming up today at 2 o'clock. If you're sick and tired of the way your house looks because you've been staring at it for so long, 2 Bloom is going to join us for a little interior design spruce up, if you will.
Looking forward to that. And we've got some more. We already have a lot of queens on this show. We got some more queens that will be joining us, Miss Toto and Zola, and just what they're doing here in Chicago and the importance of it, you guys.
And get 10 fingers up, because it's time for Never Have I Ever. That's coming up at 2.